Want to speak real Swahili from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at SwahiliPod101.com.
Today we're going to talk about 4 techniques to help you stop translating in your head and instead start thinking in your target language. This will allow you to have conversations with ease, read smoothly, and better understand native speakers. These are 4 methods to help you think in a new language. Number 1, surround yourself with your target language. This way, you'll be completely immersed in the language. Without realizing it, you'll learn pronunciation, sentence structures, grammar, and new vocabulary. Play music in the background while you're cooking, or have a radio station on while you study. Just use one of our endless podcasts available to you. These are easy to listen to in the background while doing other things. Number 2, learn through observation. This is how we all learned our native languages as kids. Words will develop their own meanings that relate better to your target language, rather than meanings that are translated directly. Number 3, speak out loud to yourself. Even if you're a little embarrassed, it forces you to listen to how you speak. It makes it much easier to spot simple grammar mistakes. Number 4, practice daily. If you practice everything for only one day, you won't retain the information you learned. The brain can realistically only focus for about 30 minutes. So studying a little every day allows you to absorb better. Follow these steps and have patience. You'll soon be able to achieve your language learning goals. Just make sure to remember these 4 methods. Sign up for your free lifetime account. No credit card required, and you'll get the best free online resources. And start learning more every day. Want to finally start speaking in your target language? In this guide, you'll discover the top 7 ways to practice speaking on your own with our lessons. Let's begin. Number 1, shadowing. Shadowing is a proven learning technique where all you do is repeat what you hear in order to practice speaking. So access any audio or video lesson on the site and press the play button to start. Then, as you listen or watch, just repeat the conversations. Or, even easier, read along out loud with the dialogue section. The script is right there in front of you. With our lessons, you can master entire conversations, just like that. Number 2, read out loud. I just mentioned it, but reading out loud is another powerful tactic and deserves its own mention. With every lesson, you get written transcripts and translations. So, as you play the lesson, read the dialogue out loud as you hear it. Why? By reading out loud, you're also practicing your speaking skills. You can do this with the lesson notes, the lesson transcript, or the dialogue tool. With the dialogue tool, you can listen to each line again and again, and repeat out loud until you master them all. Number 3, speed up your reading to speed up your speaking. Being able to speak without thinking is a sign of language mastery. If you're talking to a native and can respond quickly, they'll assume that you're fairly fluent. How can you do this? When you read out loud, try increasing your speed a little bit every time. So, start by reading with the dialogue tool. If you're like most learners, you'll read the first line slowly. That's because you're still getting used to the words, which is okay. Reread it. On your second try, you know most of the words, and you'll read a little faster. Reread it again. On your third try, you'll be even faster, at a native speaker's speed. And being able to read these phrases out loud and fast will help you speak fast. Number 4, record and compare yourself with native speakers. In order to sound like a native speaker, you must imitate native speakers. So here's how. Access the voice recorder, which is in the dialogue study tool in every lesson. Click on the microphone icon. Listen to the native speaker's audio, and then record yourself. You can then compare the 2 recordings side by side, and practice and try again and again until you perfect your pronunciation. Number 5, get feedback from our Premium Plus teacher. If you're learning by yourself and don't have access to real teachers, then you can always get feedback from our Premium Plus teachers. With the My Teacher tool, you can record yourself speaking and send the audio file to the teacher. They'll review it and tell you what to improve and how. That's it. Number 6, level up your speaking with Premium Plus assignments. With Premium Plus, you can also get assignments that cover reading, writing, listening, and even speaking from your teacher. These assignments can be tailored to your goals and needs. You get a new one every week, or anytime you're ready for a new one. Number 7, get even more lessons in the lesson library. If you want even more lessons on speaking and conversations, visit our lesson library and under Category, choose Conversation. You'll get all of the pathways and lessons that are focused on speaking. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share it with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way, and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. I'll see you next time. Bye! You've decided to study a new language, so now what? Well, you want to become fluent fast, right? Here are the top 5 shortcuts to learning a language. Number 1, create a study schedule and set some goals. Many language learners are unorganized. Creating a schedule allows you to free up time to study consistently. Goals give you motivation and something to strive for. Number 2, make it fun. If you learn how to make your study time enjoyable, chances are you'll be more inclined to study. Watch a TV show with subtitles or listen to some music. Number 3, find a language partner. This is the best way to improve your conversation skills. It will help you gain fluency even faster and increase confidence when speaking. Number 4, use word lists to build up a solid vocabulary. This is a great way to build up your fluency, one word at a time. Luckily, we have all the word lists you need, with a range of topics, from food to love. Choose whichever language you want to study and go. Number 5, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Nothing helps you improve more than correcting your own errors. You're more likely to remember it correctly the next time around. Everyone makes mistakes. Don't be afraid to learn from them. There's no magical way to learn a new language overnight, but doing all of these can really help your learning process. And remember, if you're interested in getting on the fast track to fluency, sign up for your free lifetime account. No credit card required, and you'll get the best free online resources. Start learning now.
Hamjamboni, mimi ni Medina. Hi everybody, I'm Medina. Welcome to SwahiliPod101.com's Kiswahili kwa dakika tatu, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Swahili. In the last lesson, we learned how to use the verb kuja. Now, we will start our lesson series dedicated to question words in Swahili. The first one we will learn is probably the most common question. What? Nini? The first thing to remember about question words is that they always come at the end of the sentence. How would you ask your friend what he is doing? Do you still remember the verb to do from the earlier lesson? The question will be, unafanya nini? Unafanya nini? Let's break it down. Unafanya is a one-word sentence that literally means you are doing. Breaking it further, we have u, which is a pronoun for you. Na indicates the tense, in this case, present tense. Fanya is a word we learned earlier. Do you remember that it means to do? Together we have unafanya nini? What are you doing? Also, if you want to ask about a specific object that you're not familiar with, you'll ask, hii ni nini? For, what is this? For a very common question like, what time is it? We will say, ni saa ngapi? In English, this translates to, what time is it? Now, you can make other questions like this using the word nini. Like if you want to ask, What are you watching? In Swahili, that will be unatazama nini? Now, if you want to ask more specifically which program is that, you'll use gani. Unatazama kipindi gani? Another question word we can use for what is nani. It is used as a key question word when you meet someone new. Jina lako ni nani? What is your name? Do you still remember how to answer this question? We learned all about it in lesson 1. Now, it's time for Medina's insights. In reference to our previous lessons, do you remember how to ask someone how they're doing in Swahili? You might have guessed habari or jambo, both of which can be used in casual as well as formal settings. However, you might hear Kenyans say vipi or mambo. These are a formal of casual greetings similar to the English what's up. Usually, it invites a casual setting that allows you to get along with others really quickly. You should give it a try. Now you know how to ask what questions. Don't worry if you get confused when to use nini, gani, and nani because you'll still be understood even if you get it wrong. But eventually, you'll have no problems with it. In the next lesson, we will talk about the question word where. Do you know it already? I can promise it's just as easy as what. I'll be waiting to tell you all about it in the next Kiswahili kwa dakika 3 lesson. Kwaheri.
Want to speak real Swahili from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at SwahiliPod101.com.
This time, we are going to ask questions using the question word where. In Swahili, we use the word wapi. Basically, wapi can be used to ask where something or someone is at the moment, or to ask where someone is going. Let's have a look at these using simple examples. Here is a good question you might hear and use a lot. Let's say you're calling your friend and want to know where she is. What do you say? Uko wapi? Uko wapi? Let's break down this question. First, we had uko, which is you are, implying presence. And wapi simply means where, as we have learned in the previous lessons. This one was really easy to use, right? Wapi is used regardless of where the person is, but to be specific about where the place is, po, ko, mo will be used together with wapi. Po, ko, mo are useful Swahili prepositional suffixes that indicate where something is located. For instance, po, ko is used to indicate general position of the person, whereas mo indicates inside position. For example, uko wapi? Where are you? This indicates general position. So, let's look at some questions that feature wapi. If you want to ask where you are going with your friends, you'll just say, tunaenda wapi? Tunaenda wapi? You might remember the verb enda from lesson 17. When you want to ask where someone is from, you'll say, umetoka wapi? Umetoka wapi? As you may have already guessed, this translates as, where are you from? We practiced this one back in lesson 11. Do you remember? Now, it's time for Medina's insights. In addition to these question words we are learning now, there is also another way to spot a question. Look out for J at the beginning of a sentence. J can be used in almost any sentence to make it a simple question. For example, if you want to make the statement, unaendesha gari, you drive a car, into a question, you'll ask, Je, unaendesha gari? Do you drive a car? Do you see how the sentence simply started with J? Everything else remained the same. It's pretty easy, don't you agree? If you want to emphasize the word you, as in, is it really you who is driving the car? You'll change it to, Je, ni wewe kweli unaendesha gari? Or if the ultimate question is it really a car that you're driving? You'll say, Je, kweli ni gari unaloliendesha? In this lesson, we learned the Swahili word for where. It is simple since there is only one, right? Next time, we will keep asking questions. We'll be moving on to the word when in Swahili. Have you already guessed that it's also short and also just one word? You'll find out if you're right in the next Kiswahili kwa dakika tatu lesson. Kwaheri. This time, we are going to make questions with the question word when. Lini. Let's go. So, let's imagine your friend is planning to visit your place and you like to know when he or she is coming. You'll ask the person, Lini unakuja? Lini unakuja? Let's break the question down. First, we had lini, which is the question word when in Swahili. Unakuja means you are coming. U is the pronoun of you. Na indicates when, which means the time the action is going to take place. Kuja literally means to come, but in this case, it implies to come and visit. So altogether it's lini unakuja? When will you come and visit? So the basic translation for when will be lini in Swahili. Like if you want to ask, when were you born? It will be lini ulizaliwa. The word lini can be placed either at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. There are also more specific ways to ask the question when. Just like in English, lini can be quite a vague question. If you want to know something more precisely, you could ask sangapi, which will be translated as at what time. For example, if you want to know at what time the train is leaving, you would ask, treni inaondoka sangapi? Treni inaondoka sangapi? Let's break this sentence down. First, we have treni, which is the Swahili word for train. The word that follows is inaondoka, which is a one-word sentence that can be broken down like this. I is the pronoun for treni. Na, as you may remember, represent the tense, in this case, when. The last word ondoka means to leave. Altogether we have treni inaondoka sangapi? Treni inaondoka sangapi? Another word with the same meaning as sangapi will be wakati gani. It also indicates time or period. So you can think of it as meaning what period of time. Do you still remember the word je that we learned in the last lesson as a word that indicates a question? It can often be added. So it turns out to be je wakati gani? So let's say you're going to a concert, but you're not sure what time it starts. To find out, you'll ask, je, tafrija unaanza wakati gani? At what time is the concert starting? If you want to ask a question about duration such as, how long have you been in Kenya? You'll say, je, umekuwa Kenya kwa wakati gani? So the expression for how long will be wakati gani or muda upi, which means the same thing. Now, let's say you want to meet a friend. How would you ask, when will we meet in Swahili? You can actually use any of the question words lini, wakati gani, or muda upi to start with. For example, je, tunakutana wakati gani? You start off with the question word je, and then tunakutana, which when broken down will have tu, meaning we, na, meaning when, and kutana, meaning to meet. Finally, we have wakati gani, meaning what time. Together we have je, tunakutana wakati gani? When will we meet? If you want to be specific about the year, month, or weekday, the question is a little different. What year will be mwaka gani? For example, the question, what year did you graduate? In Swahili will be ulihitimu mwaka gani? Or if you want to know about the month, it will be ulihitimu mwezi upi? Like in the sentence, which month were you born in? Ulizaliwa mwezi upi? If you want to ask a friend on which day she's free, you'll use the expression una nafasi siku gani? Now, it's time for Medina's insights. As you can see from our lesson, the word lini is an important one to know. However, you should be careful when using it, especially when asking when someone was born. Many Kenyans don't like to disclose their age unless it is in very official scenarios, such as job interviews or during medical appointments. So now, we have learned how to correctly use words for when. In the next lesson, we'll learn more about asking questions using who in Swahili. I'll be waiting for you in the next Kiswahili kwa dakika 3 lesson. Kwaheri, tuonane tena. This time, we are going to ask questions using who, nani. Imagine you're in class and there seems to be a new classmate. You ask your friend, yule ni nani? Yule ni nani? So, let's break down this question. First we had yule, meaning that person, as there is no gender used in the Swahili language. Ni is. Nani is the basic question word for who in Swahili. Altogether, it is yule ni nani. Who is that person? So in Swahili, who is mainly translated as nani to ask about someone's identity. It takes the same form in both the singular and the plural. For example, if you're browsing a photo album and want to ask who the people in the pictures are, you will ask, hawa ni akina nani? Who are these people? The question word nani also conjugates in all different cases, both in the plural and in the singular. In this lesson, we'll take a look at the most commonly used ones. Nani only works for people, so you can't use it to ask about objects. When talking about animals, you usually use yupi. However, yupi is also used for people. Nani can also be used to ask who did something. For example, nani alivusia sinema hii? This means who directed this movie. Nani is also used when you want to know to whom something belongs. In this case, the meaning is different, as it can be translated to whose. So, if you want to ask whose cell phone is this, you'll have to say simu hii ni ya nani? If we break down this question, it is simu, which is cell phone. He is this, showing the object closer to the speaker. Ni means is, and ya is for. Then finally, we have nani, which simply means whose. If you thought the cell phone might be owned by more than one person, you'd add akina before nani in the plural. In this case, it will be simu hizi ni za kina nani. Notice that in the plural, he changes to hizi and ya to za. Another useful conjugation of nani is a nani, like in ya nani, which means for whom. A takes different forms depending on the noun being used. For example, in the sentence, kikombe cha nani, for whose cup, the noun kikombe takes cha. Notice the ch has been added to a. So if you want to know for whom is this letter, you'll ask, barua hii ni ya nani? Or if it is for more than one person, barua hizi ni za nani? Have you noticed that the noun barua takes ya in the singular and za in the plural? And if you wanted to find out from whom the letter is, the question word changes into barua hii imetoka kwa nani? Or in the plural, if the letter has been written by more than one person, barua hizi zimetoka kwa akina nani? Let's see another example. Kitabu hiki ni cha nani? Whose book is this? In plural, this will be vitabu hivi ni vya nani? Whose books are these? If you're referring to many people, you'll say vitabu hivi ni vya kina nani? Who is there? Is also a useful sentence to remember. For instance, when you get a knock on your door and you want to know who it is, you can simply ask, ni nani? Which directly translates to, who is there? Also, if you get a phone call and the caller forgets to introduce himself, you can politely ask, samahani, ni nani? Excuse me, who is this? And now, it's time for Medina's Insights. Before ending this lesson, let's summarize a few ways to use and conjugate the word nani. Nani is the basic who, as in, wewe ni nani? Who are you? And nani indicates ownership. It is the equivalent of whose, as in, hii ni penseli ya nani? Whose pencil is this? Anani is also used to mean to whom, as in hiki ni cha nani? To whom does this belong? Kutoka kwa nani will be from whom, as in barua pepe imetoka kwa nani? From whom is the email? In this lesson, we learned how to ask who questions in Swahili. The next lesson will be the last in this Absolute Beginner series. We will deal with the last question word, mbona. Do you already know what it means? If not, you'll find out in the next Kiswahili kwa dakika tatu lesson. Kwaheri, tuonane tena. In this, the final lesson, we are going to ask why questions. Let's go. So, imagine it's already midnight, you can't sleep, and you decide to call your friend. He will probably want to know why you're still awake and ask you, mbona bado umekaa macho? Mbona bado umekaa macho? So, let's break down this question. First we had mbona, which is the basic question word why in Swahili. Bado means still. Ume is the conjugated form of kuwa, to be. Ka literally means sit, but when used together with macho, eyes, it means awake. That is, ka macho. When umeka macho is used together, it means to be awake. Altogether, it is mbona bado umeka macho? Why are you still awake? So in Swahili, mbona is the translation for why, and it's used to ask the reason for something. For example, if you skipped school, your teacher will ask, why were you absent? In Swahili, that will be, mbona ulijibu shule? Ulijibu basically means to be away, and shule is school. Let's look at some other uses for mbona. If your friend has a strong opinion about an issue and you want to know why, you could ask, mbona unadhania hivyo? Why do you think so? Mbona unadhania hivyo? Or if you're upset about unpleasant things always happening to you, you can say with a sigh, mbona mimi kila wakati? Why always me? Mbona mimi kila wakati? And remember to add the sigh at the end for effect. If you want to avoid giving a long explanation or simply don't know the reason, you can answer, sijui mbona. I don't know why. How about if you want to make it negative? Why not? The direct translation will be, mbona sivyo? But because Kenyans love to make words short and easier, it becomes sivyo. This is a really commonly used expression. For example, when one is doing something contrary to the traditional way, you may ask, sivyo saa mbili asubuhi unapaswa kuwa kazini? Which sounds like, is it not at 8 o'clock in the morning when you're supposed to be at work? And as we learned in lesson 14, the conjugation of to be, kuwa, is applicable here. So if you want to know why don't you like him, it will turn into mbona haumpendi? Here the conjugated kuwa becomes u for you and for him. Just like in English, why not can also have a positive meaning. For example, if you're invited to a party and after a moment of thinking, you respond, sure, why not? In the same way in Swahili, you can just answer, mbona sivyo? Now, it's time for Medina's insights. Before ending this lesson, let's review the ways of using why in Swahili. Mbona is the basic translation of why, as in, mbona umechelewa? Why are you late? Sijui mbona is, I don't know why. And finally, mbona sivyo is, why not? This lesson is the last of this Absolute Beginner video series. Hopefully, you'll continue learning Swahili from here on. To take your language ability to the next level, check out SwahiliPod101.com, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Swahili. Kwaheri!
Want to speak real Swahili from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at SwahiliPod101.com.
Hey everyone! Welcome to your monthly review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, new study tools, resources, and where we show off learners like you speaking the language. That is, if you're brave enough to participate and become language learning famous. All the materials mentioned in this video are available for you right now on our website. Click the link in the description to sign up for your free lifetime account and start speaking in minutes. Okay, today's topic is why your worst days are the best days to study. So, have you ever had a day where you planned on learning language and you just couldn't go through with it? Even if learning a new language is your personal goal, something that you really want? Well, today you're going to learn 1. Why these bad days happen, and 2. Why you'll get your best work done on your worst days. Let's start. Why bad days happen with language learning. When I say bad days, I don't mean when you're too busy or when life gets in the way. These things are unavoidable. I mean days when you're just not in the mood. It's a perfectly good day, the sun is shining, no bad news, but you just can't get yourself to study. You're just wasting the day. So, here's why they happen. First, it's the law of diminishing returns in action. What does this mean? Think of it as eating pizza every day for 5 days a week. On the first day, the first 2 slices are great, but by the third one, you're feeling queasy. It's not as good. And by the 5th day, you're sick of pizza. That's the law of diminishing returns, when the benefits start decreasing over time. And it happens with language learning. When you first start, you learn a lot of phrases and it feels good. You're excited. But as time goes on, you don't feel like you're learning much. And this affects your mood and motivation. So you're not as excited to learn anymore. So you start having bad days. Second, bad days happen because you overthink things and ruin it for yourself. It's like dreading going to the gym. Let's say you went yesterday. You have to go again today. So you're dreading it all day long. I gotta go again. You set yourself up for a bad mood and a bad day. Third, bad days are a natural part of the cycle. Some days will be good. Most days you'll feel indifferent. Some days will be bad. But that's completely natural, and anyone with long-term projects and goals feels the same. And fourth, you can't be on 100% of the time. So just like days can't always be good, you too can't always be on and ready to go all the time. Again, just a realistic and expected part of the journey. Now, let's jump into the second part. Why you'll get your best work done on your worst days. So, why will you get your best work done? First, it's not that bad once you start. Once you've spent 10 or 15 minutes learning a language, it's not so bad. People say the same thing about the gym. If you show up and put in a bit of time, it gets easier. Second, it's overcoming a mental barrier. What I mean is, when most of us have bad days, our brain automatically says, okay, can't be done today. Stop, we're done. But if you just work through it, you don't take these bad days so seriously anymore. And that means you're more likely to stick with your language learning goal. This brings us to the next point. Third, it's your best work because working on a bad day only strengthens your habit of language learning. Remember, habits are what will help you master a language over time. If you can stick to a habit on a bad day, your habit only gets stronger, and it will lead you to fluency. And finally, fourth, it just feels good to overcome something. Imagine you have a bad day, but you still put in 10 minutes of language learning. It's a real sense of achievement. And it doesn't matter if you do a 10-minute lesson or a 5-minute lesson. The fact that you made some progress on a bad day will give you the motivation you need to keep going. Now, speaking of lessons, here are this month's new lessons and resources. First, the Best of 2018 Language Learning Cheat Sheets. If you want to get access to all of our conversation cheat sheets that we sent out this year, here's your chance. Download this PDF bundle right now. Next, the brand new Supermarket Cheat Sheet. With this cheat sheet, you'll learn must-know shopping phrases and vocab for meats, vegetables, and all products that you'll find in a supermarket. And finally, the most common adjectives. If you're a beginner and don't yet know these adjectives, then this is a perfect chance to boost your vocabulary. This 1-minute lesson will get them stuck in your head, guaranteed. To get these free lessons and resources, just click the link in the description below. All right, everyone. Now we're asking you to submit a video or audio file of yourself speaking the language. If you do, you'll win 3 free months of access to our learning program, which includes your very own teacher. Here's the challenge for you. Yes, everyone watching this. Record a 30-second to 1-minute video or audio clip. Introduce yourself in the language. Share your name, where you're from, and why you're studying this language. And you'll win a 3-month Premium Plus subscription. To submit, click on the link in the description. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Then, fill out the form. Attach the audio or video file, and press submit. We may feature you in next month's episode, so a lot of learners will see you and your progress, and will hopefully get inspired to improve and master the language. To submit a recording, click the link in the description and follow the instructions on the page. So thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Next time, we'll talk about how to set achievable language learning goals and resolutions. In the meantime, submit your recording if you're brave. Like and share this video, and leave a comment to tell us what language learning tactics you'd like us to talk about. See you next time. Bye! You probably already have language learning goals, but the real key to success is to make the right goals. In this video, I'll show you how, with 5 tips to stop wasting your time and start learning. Hi everyone, Alicia here. In this video, I'll teach you 5 tips to stop procrastinating and keep your motivation for learning a new language. Some of these are study methods, and some will be general ways that you can keep your study motivation up. While these tips are for studying a language, some of them are good for other things in your life too, such as new challenges or other types of goals. But before we start, don't forget to click the link in the description to get your bundle of PDF cheat sheets, including survival phrases, romantic lines, learning tips, absolutely free. Now, you probably already have some goals you're trying to achieve when it comes to your language learning progress. While achieving these goals is important, making sure you make the right goals is the real key to success. The very first tip is to set SMART goals. SMART is an acronym, meaning each letter in the word stands for another word. The earliest known reference to SMART goals was in an article written by George T. Doran for a 1981 issue of the Management Review Academic Journal. The acronym varies depending on its use, but each letter generally stands for some criterion that helps with effective goal setting. For our purposes, let's define SMART goals as follows. The S stands for specific. Your goals should target a specific area for improvement. Our natural tendency is to have a goal that's very general. If your goal isn't specific enough, you'll lack the focus and proper direction you need to achieve your goals. So S is for specific. M stands for measurable. Your goals should be quantifiable. They should be able to indicate progress in some way. You have to be able to track your progress, otherwise you won't know if you're getting any closer to your goal. As you see yourself getting closer and closer to your goal, your motivation will go up. So your goals need to be measurable. A stands for achievable. Your goals have to be achievable. Many people want to become fluent in their target language immediately. However, this goal is unrealistic. Your goals have to be achievable. If your goal is too challenging for your current level, it will only demotivate you when you aren't where you think you should be. Instead, think about what results can realistically be achieved given your level, your resources, and any constraints, such as time. So make sure that your goal is actually achievable. R stands for relevant. Your goals may be specific, they may be measurable, and they may be achievable, but are they actually relevant to what you want to achieve? Don't just do a lot of things. If you're focused on improving your speaking skills in your target language, make sure that you spend your time having conversations with others. Make sure you're doing the right things so that your efforts actually bring you closer to your goal instead of just giving you more work. T stands for timely. You need to set a deadline for your goals. if you don't specify when you plan to achieve the result you've set for yourself, it's very easy to put off the task. You can delay it until tomorrow, the next week, or the next month, and at this rate, you'll never get things done. So your goal must have an end date. So remember, tip number 1 is to set SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. So, for example, a goal you could make is registering for a challenging test, a test that's a little bit beyond your current level. I hate failing, so if I register for a challenging test, I'm motivated to study because I don't want to fail. This is a good example of a SMART goal because tests are specific. There are tons of different tests focused on speaking, grammar, and comprehension. Pick a test that can measure the specific area in which you'd like to grow. Measurable. Tests are measurable. Every test measures your performance to some degree. Whether it's a total count of right and wrong answers or a simple pass or fail, every test measures your performance. Tests are achievable. There's an important detail to remember here, though. Find a test that is achievable for you. If you're a beginner, then the most advanced test is probably not right for you. Find one that's meant for beginners. Then, after that one, work your way up to more advanced tests in the future. Tests are relevant. Most, if not all, language tests are designed to ensure that you're capable of performing to a set standard in your target language. Lower-level tests are designed to ensure that you can handle the most essential aspects of your target language. But there are tests for all levels, including higher education entry exams that could be difficult, even for native speakers. Pick the one that's right for you. And finally, tests are timely. If your test is completed in a physical location, then this one is obvious. You have to be at that spot at the set time, ready to take the test. There's no wiggle room. But even online tests will most likely have a deadline for you to complete them. The second tip to help you stop procrastinating and to keep your motivation up is to create a diary or social media account that you can update every day. This may seem simple or even unrelated to language learning, but by creating a diary in your target language, you have the chance to actually create in the language itself. Creating a diary is also a great way to practice writing in your target language. Another method is to create a social media account, which gives you the chance to connect with other people who are working toward the same goals as you. Maybe they can even give you feedback on your writing. If you're following people online who regularly share good resources, those can be really helpful for you too. It lets you find new tools that can encourage and motivate you, especially if they relate to some of your other interests, such as music or books in other languages. This is a really good way to take a few minutes every day to work towards your goal, without it even seeming like work. The third tip is to focus on understanding a specific TV show or movie. Try to watch a movie in your target language without any subtitles, or try to understand your favorite TV show that's in your target language. If you don't already have a goal like this, it can be a fun way to practice. If your friends often talk about a particular TV show, it could be a good way to study and a fun way to keep your motivation up together. Plus, TV shows and movies often use the language in a way that's vastly different from the conversations provided in traditional textbooks, so you often get to hear different vocabulary choices. It's a very powerful way to learn a language and end up sounding more like a native speaker. Tip number 4 is to enroll in a regular language course. Register for something you have to go to or you have to participate in regularly, meaning every week or 2 times a week or maybe even every day. The point of this is it's something that gives you a pattern to follow. Forming a study habit will help you progress very quickly. It will make it easier for you to achieve your language learning goals. Once you form the habit, you won't even have to think about starting each time. It'll just be natural. Have something that you must take responsibility for. You'll be more motivated to continue if there are others, especially classmates or a teacher, watching you progress. Look for resources inside your community, and if there are no opportunities there, look for things digitally. You can find many of our videos on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course, our entire video and audio lesson library on our website. The lessons on our website also come with assignment courses, so you can test your knowledge. The last tip is to make your goal public. Share your goal. Tell people about your goal. For example, if you want to give a business presentation in your target language this year, then tell your colleagues or your boss about it. Some people may find what you're doing interesting, and they can support you. This kind of pressure can help push people forward who have trouble motivating themselves alone. By telling others about your goal, you'll feel more accountable. Because you told somebody that you were planning on doing something, there's an underlying sense of guilt if you don't accomplish the task. You may feel that you have failed your peers in some way, even if there's no direct pressure from them. Using this technique, you can push yourself into moving forward toward your goal, especially at times when you feel the least motivated. And that brings us to the end of our 5 tips to stop wasting time and start learning a language. We've talked a lot about how to set goals for yourself and think about new challenges. First, I told you about creating SMART goals. Remember, SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. Registering for a test is a great example of a SMART goal. Next, we talked about keeping a diary or social media account in your target language. Start doing it right now, even if you're still a beginner. Then, I suggested that you focus on understanding a specific TV show or movie. Pick something in your target language that you really love, because you may need to watch it over and over again until it all makes sense to you. And next, we talked about enrolling in a regular language course. This will give you something concrete that you must take responsibility for. Finally, make your goal public. Tell someone about your learning goals to keep you accountable for them. You're much less likely to abandon your studies if you have friends asking you about your progress. I hope that these are useful tips that you can use to reach your language learning goals. And before we go, let me remind you to download tons of free PDF lessons to learn the language the fast, fun, and easy way. Just click the link in the description. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and share it with anyone who may find it useful. Do you have any good tips that you've used to help you reach your goals? Share them in the comments. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next time.